Check, check, check. Check, check, check.
I still. Oh, it's very tinny, but I can hear myself now a little bit.
Check, check, check.
Now I can't hear myself at all. Now I can hear myself.
Talk, check.
Now I can't hear myself.
Check, check. Okay. Let me. All right. Check, check, check.
I can barely hear myself. That sounds a tad. Now I can't hear myself. Now I can. It just keeps going back and forth. Is that headset working? Should I just use that one? Still.
Use this one.
All right. Now I can hear myself a little bit better. It's still a little quiet, but hopefully everything sounds all good.
HCTV Sports is supported by the Spool House. From prom to weddings, let us suit your formal wear needs.
Making the play.
He gets the pin.
Raiders are clawing their way back in this game.
Just snipes one.
It's over.
Save. Oh my God!
Did you see that?
Great diving play.
He's hit a touchdown. Hastings Raiders win the ball game.
Hello everybody and welcome here to the home of the Raiders, Hastings High School, as we get set for a boys basketball matchup here on HCTV Sports between the Tartan Titans, the #1 team in the state of Minnesota, and the Hastings Raiders. The Titans come into this one with a record of 21-0, undefeated on the season, 13-0 in the Metro East Conference. The Raiders coming into this one 11-11. They've won 2 of their last 3, and they sit at 7-5 in the Metro East Conference. We're just moments away here from tip-off here in Hastings as we get to the starting lineup for these two teams as we look to wind down the 2025-2026 season. These two teams very familiar with each other. Metro East Conference rivals. They've played earlier this season. They played on January 16th. It was a 63-52 victory for Tartan at home. And I'm sure we'll talk about that game as the broadcast goes on. It was an interesting game, a close game, a 6-point game at halftime. The Raiders were in that one, but they just couldn't find a way to pick up the win against the #1 team on the road. Plenty of scorers on this Tartan team. There were 4 players in double-digit scoring in that matchup in January. Only 2 players in double-digit scoring for the Raiders. Matt Foss had 24 points in that one. Brady Hendrickson, 11 points. Miska, tallest player on the team, 11 rebounds in that game. So a lot of things went right for the Raiders in that one, but this is a very talented team in the Tartan Titans and a team that certainly has state championship aspirations. But can they pull off the undefeated season? That remains to be seen here. There you saw Landon Miska, the aforementioned Landon Miska, getting the start. 6'6" senior, 10.9 points on the season, 6.7 rebounds on the season to go with 1.4 assists. So we're in for a good one here. It's not an overly tall Tartan team when you think about state contenders. So the Raiders, typically an undersized team, benefits by having Miska and Foss and some taller players in the at the 4 and 5 spot, but this is not an overly tall Tartan team, so it should be a skill versus skill kind of matchup here. Should be a great one. The student section, you can see there in the middle of the screen, ready to get rocking. They were vocal in the pregame. Tartan traveled well down here to Hastings, so we're in for a great one here. These two teams, they played each other very tight. This is a team in Tartan that is blown out. They started off the season scoring 104 points and only allowing their opponent, I believe it was 24 points. So this is a high-powered offense, but when these two teams get together, magic happens on the court. You're going to be the benefactor of that magic here tonight. Also on HCTV, as we are underway here from the Raider Dome. Raiders taking the early possession here. It's a team that has got off to a slow start in a handful of games that we've covered here. We were last here for this boys team against Prescott. That was a 52-60 loss. A very close game, very streaky game. The Raiders were up, the Raiders were down. Obviously Prescott, a rival, a big rival here in that border battle, as we'll get the scoring started here for Tartan. That's Foss near the logo. He's the leading scorer in that previous matchup, 24 points in that one. So he factors to be a big part of the Raiders here tonight. Hendrickson looking to pass, kicks it out to Foss near the elbow. Crowd getting into it here, but the shot clock running down here. Hendrickson pumps up the shot, and a little off the mark. Hendrickson, three-point threat for this team, 33% shooter on the season from beyond the arc, as we get a quick but quiet response there from Tartan for an early 4-0 lead. As we get a whistle here, 90 seconds into this one. Carter Lundstrom here to inbound the ball for Hastings. Plays a little north of 23 minutes per game on the season, an unheralded player for this Raiders basketball team. One of the leading rebounders for the basketball team as a guard, as Hendrickson gets the scoring started here for the Raiders. Right-handed layup. Handful of good passes here for this Tartan team. Not a lot of movement between the players. Now we'll get a guard there for Tartan, trying to attack there on the strong side. Now a turnover. Corner three for Lundstrom. 5 points per game on the season for Lundstrom. He is a three-point threat. Teams have certainly forgot about that aspect of his game this season. We've seen it time and time again, even if the volume is not tremendous for Lundstrom. Now a long three-pointer, and Kevin Wilson letting the bench know on that one. Extends the lead here, or rather regains the lead here for Tartan. Now a scramble for the ball in the post. And they're going to call a jump ball here. There's that three-pointer from Lundstrom, counting it on his fingers there, but Kevin Wilson with a little give and go. That was a NBA range three right there for Kevin Wilson. Had 16 points in the previous matchup, only a 10th grader. So if you think Tartan's fluky this year, I don't know why you would. They're undefeated, but if you think this is a short-lived thing for Tartan, they got some young, really good players on this team, and can't forget about Emmanuel Osanmi, the senior, his first bucket of the night. Osanmi was actually the leading scorer for Tartan. He had 19 in the last matchup. Now a couple of defensive stops string together here for the Titans. Another long three. Offensive rebound couldn't be corralled. You can tell Kevin Wilson's feeling it here early. Just a little off the mark there. Heavy defense here from Osanmi on Foss, as he'll pass it out to the top of the arc. Back to the point. Bernatz's pass. Tipped away, and they're going to give it to Hastings. There's head coach Chad Fikema here for the Hastings Raiders. Looking to get above 500 here, looking to get what certainly would amount to the biggest win of the season if they could pull off the win here. Miska getting the scoring started for him. And we'll have a timeout called on the court. Miska, only 10 points. I say only 10.9 points on the season because in 2026, I'd love to know what the splits are. He's been having a heck of a 2026 season. And the Spool House also having a heck of a 2026 season. The Spool House, from prom to weddings, let it suit your formal wear needs. More information can be found at thespoolhouse.com. And we'll take a look at the Metro East Conference standings. They're no surprise. Tartan at the top. They've been at the top from the beginning, and they'll probably be at the top, barring a massive. I don't even know if it's mathematically possible for them to not be at the top with how many games are remaining in the season. And there you see Hastings behind a couple of solid teams. South St. Paul, who they will see on Friday. St. Thomas, Matamida is having a good season. North St. Paul, who Hastings just saw in their last game, not having the best of seasons there, looking to avoid a winless season. But it's a talented Metro East conference, and certainly at the top. Tartan's having one heck of a season. Thinking about more than just winning the Metro East, but thinking about winning the whole thing here statewide. Back to action off of the timeout, which was called by Fikema and the Raiders. Cross-court pass there for Osanmi, and a three-pointer from the wing there for Tyrell Pride, his first bucket of the game. He was a factor in that previous matchup, at 11 points in that one. Some stellar defense here from the Titans as they force a turnover off of Foss on a breakaway, and a bucket in transition there for Emmanuel Oyasanmi. Lead slowly growing here for Tartan. It's an 8-point lead. We'll see what Foss and the Raiders offense can get going here. Already under 13 minutes to go here in the first half. Feels like time is flying by here. Attacking the rim, and Gorgon couldn't score. Now the Raiders looking to cut back into this deficit here. Nearly tipped away from Jalen Gorgon. As soon as the Raiders are getting across that Pirate logo, we're seeing some heavy defense. Might have a player injured, and Hendrickson sinks a three. I think his defender might have got hit in the face or something. He was grabbing his nose there. That's certainly what the head coach for Tartan is talking about there. You see there at the free throw line. Led to a wide open three-pointer, but I suppose you have to play on in that situation there. It's head coach Mark Klinsporn for the Titans, and that's going to cut into their lead here, make it a two-possession game. Ball finding the way here in the far side corner. There you can see everybody in the Raiders student section standing up. No doubt ready to explode here. Gillespie checked in at the last timeout. A two-pointer sinks in here for Duke King. Seven-point lead, Hendrickson. Just hit that three-pointer. His pass tipped away, and the slam for Duke King. Back-to-back buckets for the 6'5" senior. No question about whether or not King can dunk. And a pass out of bounds, trying to connect there with Foss. Just some miscommunication there. There's the interception and the dunk in transition, sort of a reverse dunk there, looking like Jay Huff out there. And there's the aforementioned Mark Klingsporn, the head coach for this undefeated Tartan basketball team. Wilson drives in front of the Raiders bench, drives back out and kicks it to Tyrell Pride. Find the open man in the corner, blows past Gillespie, and we get a foul called, likely against Gillespie here. 6'4" senior, 2.2 rebounds on the season for Gillespie. Good rotational big for the Raiders. We've called his name plenty of times this season, as that's going to send Emmanuel Oyasanmi to the line here. This is his first one, and I don't have to tell you who's the most excited about that one, as we'll have Gillespie checking out, Miska checking in. Caleb Gudissa for the first time tonight, checking in for Hastings. 5 points per game on the season for Gudissa. And Oyasanmi going 1-1 at the line. That's 6 points for Oyasanmi. A couple of sly passes here for Hastings. They couldn't connect on that corner three-pointer from Foss. Now Wilson breaking the press into the corner. No stranger to some of these long passes are the Titans here. And why not? They connect on all of them. Voss closing in, defending, now driving in between the lane. Kicks it out, splits the difference, and a sly little around the world. I don't know what you want to call that there for Duke King, who's exploding here the last handful of minutes. Now a 12-point lead here for the Titans. Long three-pointer here for Hastings, won't go. Rebound taken by Laquan Stewart. In the near side corner in front of the Raiders bench. Out of the opposite corner, stays in bounds. But Varner, now a long three-pointer for Kevin Wilson. 2 3-pointers here tonight. Now the lead exploding here to 15 points. Still 10 minutes to go here in the first half. There's that last sequence. I think somebody needs to tell him that a three-pointer is still 3 points no matter how far you stand back. He's taking them with plenty of distance. They're going in all the same. We'll take a look at the 3-4A standings. Section standings here for Hastings. 1-0 in the sections. It's sort of a hodgepodge of a section there. Nobody clearly at the top. I mean, Apple Valley undefeated in the section, but 14-7 on the season. Handful of teams in double digits there, but it's just hard to make anything from that section there. But nonetheless, the Raiders occupying the middle. And so it was a timeout on the court here called by head coach Chad Fikema for the Raiders. The king of the adjustments, Chad Fikema. So we'll see what the Raiders can do off of the timeout adjustment. They've proven time and time again throughout the season, throughout the seasons, that they can make great adjustments at halftime. They can make great adjustments coming out of timeouts. It's normally a team that tries to keep as many timeouts as possible into the second half. But they've been forced to take 2 of them here in the first half of the first half, trying to adjust to this high-powered Tartan offense. You know, there's familiarity between these two teams. It was a very close game the first time, but you know, as much as the Raiders learned in that first game, you got to figure Tartan learned a bunch about the Raiders as well, and they've certainly come in with a great game plan here tonight and great execution. Still plenty of time for the Raiders to get back in this one, but they're going to have to string some buckets together, make it a little more manageable as we close into halftime. Burnett's double team down low. Gudissa at the point. Now down low. Flying through there is Xander McVicker. That's his first bucket of the game. Always have to account for McVicker. Another long three. Doesn't fall for Wilson. 2 of 4 from the three-point line here tonight. And a foul coming in from Gudissa. Probably a little unnecessary there from a Raiders perspective. Here's that last bucket, and you can see it takes a handful of passes here for the Raiders to try to crack this Titans defense, but McVicker gets his first bucket of the game. That's going to send Justice Day to the line. 6'5" freshman. As we'll have Hendrickson checking back into the game here for Hastings. McVicker checking out. Foss also checking out for Hastings, the leading scorer for the team this year, 18.1 points per game. So Justice Day, 2 for 2 at the line, and we're going to have a foul called against Justice Day. He can't believe it. We'll let you decide here on the replay here. That was Miska trying to work his way in there. Can't really see from that angle there if there was any contact there with the hand. So Miska at the line. Liam Bernatz checking in here for Hastings. So it's going to be Hendrickson, Miska, Lundstrom, Gudissa, and Bernatz on the floor here for Hastings. Miska goes 1-1 at the line. Lead hovering here at around 14 for the Titans. It's a high-powered offense for Tartan, but it certainly can be a patient offense at times. They wait to get the look that they like, and they love that look there. And again, they're telling the student section every time they're scoring. That's Laquan Stewart, his first points of the evening. It's a tight defense here for Tartan. Now Miska trying to direct traffic here. At the free throw line, Hendrickson just trying to slip his way through, denied by Justice Day. And back the other way, in the far side corner, three-pointer. Good, and I've yet to see a bucket that Tartan hasn't celebrated on. They're certainly happy to come down here and bring the lead to 20. Very foul-free game here, only 3 fouls so far in this one as Liam Bernatz gets his first 2-pointer of the game. Raiders just holding on here, trying to tread water. Gudissa bodied by Day. That's just how deep this Tartan team was. They got the 6'5" freshman sort of buried on the bench in the first 10 minutes of the game, and comes out and he's making buckets and he's making stellar plays defensively. He did pick up the foul, but tremendous transition bucket there for Laquan Stewart, as we'll have another timeout on the court here. Here's the last couple of threes. They're just falling in here for the Titans. And it's just possession after possession. Near side, far side, dead center, 10 feet from the three-point line, doesn't matter, all the same for the Titans. The three-pointers are going in. So it's a Raiders timeout here. We'll take a look at the section here for the Titans. Obviously undefeated on the season. They're going to be undefeated in everything we look at this season, but somehow they're not at the top of the section. Not quite sure the criteria there. I guess wins matter more in totality, because you got Eastridge up there, you got Cretin-Durham Hall up there. It's a good section, but obviously Tartan's the team to look out for. So 5 timeouts are allotted to a team each game, and the Raiders, they're already on timeout number 3 here. Of course, they'll have halftime to talk it over, but like I said earlier, Fikema and the Raiders, they're a team that sparingly uses timeouts in the first half. Hard to deny that they're an appropriate usage here when you see what the Titans are doing. A 22-point lead. Raiders with only 15 points on the board, but they did hold them to 61 or 62 in their last meeting. But this is a tremendous start here for Tartan. So back from the Raiders timeout, we're under 7 minutes to go here before halftime. Raiders with their work cut out for them here. Double team on Hendrickson, trying to force the turnover. Now they're just double teaming whoever the ball carrier is here. Hendrickson finding some space, gives it out to Lundstrom, nearly tipped away off of the fingertips of Gillespie. Now stolen away, coming up the far side. Taken aback there by Hendrickson. Lundstrom on Day. Air ball, and then a second chance bucket there for Matthew Foss. That's his first bucket of the game, if you can believe it. 18.1 points per game on the season. At the free throw line, the pass connecting there to King. Tries to part the blue sea there. A good defensive stop here for Hastings. Makes the defender miss. And Hendrickson just a little off the mark. Gillespie can't pull down the offensive rebound there. And Now we're under 6 minutes to go. A screen set for Wilson. Just a bit off the mark. Lead still sitting here at 20. Now Hendrickson at the point, tipped away, and Hendrickson forced to go back on defense here. Little Euro step action there, and it's going to draw a foul here for the Titans. That's going to be the third team foul here on Hastings, and it's Duke King drawing the foul there. I believe they're going to call that on Gillespie. Probably have to say that's a good foul to take if you're Hastings. You're not in foul trouble here tonight, and we certainly have seen that Duke King, you can slam it down at the rim. And Emmanuel Oyasanmi checking in. 6'4" forward here for the Titans. And King misses that one, so it'll be 7 points so far here in the first half for King. Had 11 in their first matchup, so well on his way to surpassing that total here. Gillespie near the elbow, a three-pointer. Bounces off of the rack there for Hastings and Liam Bernatz. Far side connects on a pass. King, Foss defending, and an offensive foul called here on Duke King. Matt Foss, he's a hard player to bully in the post, whether it's offensively or defensively. 6'2", they don't have the listed weight for Foss, but he's certainly a muscular guy out there. He's hard to body in the paint and draws just the second foul here for the Tartan Titans. Lundstrom defended from Gorgian. Hendrickson along the lane, looking to pass, looking to shoot. Pumps it up. Fairly off the mark there for Hendrickson. Now in front of the student section, back to the top of the point. Driving in, kicks it out. Had a defender closing in, and a second chance bucket there for Jalen Gorgian, his first points of the game. Coming off of that rebound. Exactly 4 minutes to go in the first half here at the wing. Lundstrom connecting with Bernatz, puts up the jumper, rebound, back to Bernatz. Lundstrom, open three. His second three-pointer of the first half for Carter Lundstrom, surpasses his season average. Now with 6 points in this one. But it's still a 20-point lead here for the Titans. Patient attack there for Oyasanmi as he gets the bucket. It's 8 points for Oyasanmi. Poked away, taken back the other way. Oyasanmi with the slam. Make that 10 points now. Something that the Raiders have done well all season, turning defense into offense. But you look at the defense, you look at the transition game here for the Titans. It's no wonder why they're undefeated. Can turn defense into offense in a split second. And turned over, had to work his way past the ref, sort of forces a turnover inadvertently. I think that's what Duke King was upset about there. Now working his way along the baseline, they're going to say, I believe that he was pushed out of bounds from the junior Joe Varner. And here's that three-pointer from Lundstrom. They needed that one badly. Trying to work their way back into this one, and then here's that last sequence here, working along the baseline. It was a little push, so they call a foul there on Varner. Now the inbound, McVicker into the game. A handoff to McVicker, jumper from the free throw line. 4 points now for Xander McVicker as he surpasses his season average, just as Lundstrom has here in the very first half. Raiders really trying to close out on the recipient of the passes. Now a solid pass there to Oyasanmi, kicking it back to Wilson into the corner. And a two-pointer falls there for Laquan Stewart. Now 7 points for him. Hendrickson, the surveyor. Miska at the elbow, a little handoff. Three-pointer doesn't fall for McVicker. 90 seconds to go here before halftime. Certainly the Raiders will have a lot to talk about. Tartan, they missed the shot there. The rebound taken here for the Raiders. Kicking it off to Hendrickson, closed out by a defender. Lundstrom in front of the bench. Takes a bad bounce. That would have been his third three-pointer of the first half. Now an open three-pointer, misses a shot. Solid closeout there from Hendrickson, who thought about taking a long three. Foss takes an even longer one. Bounces off like a diving board there. Closing out, and Kevin Wilson, his first non-three-pointer of the first half. 11 points for Kevin Wilson, as well as a timeout called on the court here with only 42 seconds to go before halftime. It's going to be the first timeout credited here to Tartan, who frankly probably hasn't had much to talk about at the timeouts. It's sort of all been going their way here since minute number one here. See why they're the number one team for a reason. 26-point lead here for the Titans. The last time these two teams played each other, it was 28-22 at halftime. It's a Raiders team that's picking up a little bit of steam. They won 2 of their last 3. Had a 70-51 victory over an 0-18 North St. Paul team last Wednesday. So it has been 6 days since this team has taken the court in live action, so you don't necessarily want to attribute this performance solely to inactivity, because obviously this is, a likely state champion team, but you got to figure maybe that's a small part of the equation here for the Raiders. Obviously the much larger piece of the pie just being how dominant this Tartan team is. Open three-pointer doesn't fall. Swatted away from Lundstrom, sort of a quasi-rebound there, as it's battled for, taken, and a two-pointer falling in there for Xander McVicker. You don't think about him as a volume rebounder, but I mean, he sure fought for that one. 6'3" forward. Now a long fadeaway three-pointer, no good, but the offensive rebound taken here, kicked out of bounds. And like that, we will reach halftime here from Hastings High School. It's a 48-24 equation here. Raiders in quite a hole here against the number one team, the Tartan Titans. We'll take a short break. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on HCTV Sports.
Today, 4 Minnesotans lost their lives from fentanyl poisoning.
And 4 more will tomorrow.
Fentanyl is the #1 killer of 18 to 45-year-olds.
It's killing more and more 12 to 17-year-olds. They're people we care about.
Like my brother.
My sister.
My best friend.
We have the power to make a difference in our community. Join us in the fight against the fentanyl crisis.
He gets the pin. What a move, what a goal! Oh, and a shot scores! The Raiders, can they get the lift? Yes, they do.
Just snipes one.
Oh my God! And reaching up and making the play.
It's moving!
It's over!
Looking to throw, and she's going to get the first down.
One! Touchdown Raiders!
The United Heroes League mainly uses sports as a bridge to help military families stay active and engaged in their communities. We have over 40 professional teams that partner with us for free tickets and camps. We provide access to free sporting equipment.
UHL has provided us with a lot of equipment and a lot of gear that is otherwise sometimes hard to attain.
It's really cool. I get all this free stuff, and it's because of my great dad, who is a veteran.
UHL has been a great supporter, not just for our family, but for all the military families.
We're excited to see what the future holds. We can't wait to see where it goes.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Hastings High School as we're just moments away here from the second half tip-off here between the #1 team in the state, the Tartan Titans, and the Hastings Raiders. At halftime it was a 48-24 lead for the visiting undefeated Tartan Titans. A lot to talk about here in the second half, a lot of adjustments surely to be made here from head coach Chad Fikema and the Raiders, and we'll see how Mark Klinsporn and this Titans team comes out here in the second half. It's a team that has shown no mercy when you look at some of their box score, so I would not expect them to go any easier here in the second half, even with a 24-point lead. 18 minutes to go in regulation here, so still plenty of time for anything to happen if you can string something together here for Hastings, but certainly a Herculean task here for the Raiders to try to work their way back in this one, but we'll see how they respond here off of the shot from Miska. Very nearly a tie-up or a jump ball there. But we'll play on. Long three-point shot there in the corner. Doesn't fall for Tyrell Pride. Foss to Hendrickson. Spinning around, thought about a three-pointer. Gets the near assist to Miska, who misses his second shot here of the second half. Right in front of the Tartan bench, three-pointer not falling for Oyasanmi. Now the Hastings Raiders, they maybe had some numbers there. We'll have a missed shot there for Matt Foss, who had 2 points in the first half. Now the ball taken off of the rebound here for the Raiders. Stopping on a dime, Burnatz can't make it fall, and that's 4 missed shots for the Hastings Raiders here in the first 60 seconds of the second half. They're getting some good looks here, but unfortunately it's just not falling in for the Raiders. Just some tremendous cross-court passing here for the Titans, and a three-pointer sinking in for Kevin Wilson. 14 points on the night. That's his 4th three-point shot of this game. Now Burnatz, the ball handler here for Hastings, out to Lundstrom, and a three-point response of his own. Lundstrom, 9 points on the game, all coming by way of the three-point shot. By far and away the leading scorer here for the Raiders tonight is Carter Lundstrom, who gets the steal. Pass nearly tipped away, but he connects to Burnatz. Burnatz with the assist to Hendrickson. His first point of the second half. That's 7 on the game for Hendrickson. So a little mini surge here for Hastings. Wide open bucket there for Emmanuel Oyasanmi. That's 12 points for the senior. Had 19 points in that matchup in January. Foss in front of the student section, nearly tipped away, does connect with Lundstrom. Hendrickson to Miska at the elbow, hands it off to Foss, nearly stripped from behind, puts up the shot, and just his second bucket of the night. Now 4 points for Foss. We'll see if he can heat up here in the second half. 18-point deficit. It was 24 points at halftime. Pass might have been tipped, still connects with Oyasanmi, who gets the brilliant assist there to Duke King. 9 points for King, including one heck of a reverse dunk in the first half. Fikema giving out some orders. Ball stolen away from Burnatz. Puts Hendrickson back on defense. And an uncontested two-pointer there for Oyasanmi. Raiders trying to set up some screens there in transition at half court. Little bounce pass falls in for Miska. 5 points now for Miska. Long three-pointer goes in for Kevin Wilson. 17 points now for Wilson. A 27-point lead here for Tartan. Couple of passes here along the umbrella for the Raiders. Now Burnatz tried to work his way in there on Wilson. Hand off to Burnatz. In between the lane. Puts up a tough shot there and takes a little spill. And a wide open single-handed flush there for Duke King, as we'll have a timeout called here on the court by the Hastings Raiders. So 11 points now for Duke King, including 2 slams. Well, we'd like to thank our sponsor of this broadcast, the Spool House. From prom to weddings, let us suit your formal wear needs. More information can be found at thespoolhouse.com. So the Raiders, the timeout was called by Tartan, so that's going to be the second charged timeout here for the Titans. So the Raiders still will have 2 timeouts remaining as they try to get the fans back into this one. Hasn't been a ton to cheer about here tonight. Outside of some good threes from Carter Lundstrom and a couple of nice buckets from Brady Hendrickson. So following the Titans timeout, we'll get the inbound here from Hastings. Pulling up along the near side. Now a double team sprung on Burnatz. Forced to pass, turned over, and Hoyasanmi with the slam. It's just Pavlovian conditioning. I'm so used to Duke King hitting the slams, you forget there's other players on this Titans team that can rain it down. Not an overly tall Titans team like we talked about in the first half, but just tall enough to make things interesting. 10 seconds to go here on the shot clock. The Raiders need to figure out something. Hendrickson puts up a long 3-pointer, rebound taken. Kicked it out. The rebound was from Seth Leary. First time we've called him, I think, maybe all season. And we get a 2-pointer here from Matt Foss. Long pass. And the 2-pointer goes for Jalen Gorgian. Second bucket of the night. Screen set from Foss. And we will get a whistle. And they are going to call that on Tartan. I was waiting for an explanation. And apparently he might have gestured at the student section. That's why they're so happy to see that foul there. It's the first foul of the second half. I think we only had 5 fouls in the first half, maybe 6. So it's been a very clean game between these two teams. 3-pointer well off the mark there for McVicker. And we'll get another whistle, another foul here against the Tartan Titans and Kevin Wilson. So 2 fouls in quick succession here for the Titans. Successful inbound here to Hendrickson, as that's going to find its way out of bounds, awarded here to Tartan. And Caleb Gudissa checking in for the second time here tonight, as Liam Burnatz will take a seat on the bench here. 3/4 press defense here for the Raiders. Oyasamni in front of his bench, kicks it out to a leaping Wilson. Wilson at the wing, sort of boxed in his teammate there up top. Screen was set there from Justice Day. Couldn't create any space there. Now Wilson, short three-pointer, offensive rebound. Day trying to work, and he'll get hacked, so that'll send Justice Day here to the line. It's going to be the first foul of the second half called here against the Raiders. Second time at the line here for Day. And he'll miss his second, so that's going to be 5 points on the evening for Day. Still a sizable lead here for the visiting Titans. Hendrickson to Gadissa into the corner for McVicker. Now back into the corner here for Foss. Trying to work his way into that short corner. Leary pumps up a shot. Doesn't fall in. Leary, the 6-foot sophomore. Now Oyasanmi drives in, kicks it out, tipped from Gadissa, out of bounds, and it'll stay here with the Titans, as they'll have 3 players subbing in here: Stewart, King, and Varner. Again, back to the patient attack here for the Titans. Shot clock running out here. Kicking it back, another extraordinarily long three for Kevin Wilson. That's going to make 20 points for Wilson. His 6th three-pointer of the game, and to call them three-pointers almost doesn't even do it justice, the length he's taking them from. Hendrickson tries for a three-point response. Gadissa trying to wrestle for the ball in front of the Raiders bench. It will be given here to the blue and gold. 3 players checking in here for Hastings, including Bernatz and Miska. Under 10 to go here in regulation. The handoff to Foss. Little bounce pass to Gadissa. Far outside on the wing. Out of the far side wing. Bounce pass. Nearly closed out, but a nice attack there from Landon Miska. Gadissa defending on Wilson. Wilson's pass doesn't connect clear, and a jump ball there between Day and Miska as they were both trying to vie for possession there. So it'll be an inbound here for the Titans. Pride with the inbound, another long three-pointer. Just a little to the right there from Kevin Wilson. Now spinning, Gadissa puts up the shot, and that electrifies the crowd here. His first bucket of the game. They still might be down by a bunch, but that was an exciting sequence here for Raiders fans, and certainly Caleb Gadissa, you feel like he had to take the shot after that move. And a 2-pointer put back here from Day. Bernatz, turnaround jumper. Rebound taken there from Duke King. Into the corner, open three. Falls in for Joe Varner. His first bucket of the game. Now Miska working in on Day, the bucket and the foul, so a chance for an and one here for Landon Miska. And there's the Gudissa, the spin, and then the shot there from basically inside the free throw line there. Snazzy sequence there for the Raiders as Miska's at the line. So that's 9 points for Landon Miska. Gorgian kicks it out, plenty of space along the baseline. A patient attack there for Duke King. As we will get a whistle here, under 8 to go. It's going to be a timeout called here from Tartan, and here's that last foul here against the road team off of the two-pointer from Miska. Couldn't connect on the and one, so it remains a 2-point play. Well, now's as good of a time as ever to tell you about our next broadcast. We have a boys hockey section game on Thursday. It's going to be versus South St. Paul. It's going to be from Aldrich Arena, as now they do all those section games, all those games at a neutral site. So you can tune into that one on Thursday. We'll have Tuck on the call. Should be a good one there. Hopefully a little more competitive than this one here tonight, but it's hard to fault the Raiders in this one. You don't feel like the Raiders have played a bad game to this point. But you just get the sense that this Tartan team is a special team. It's a great team in transition. They got good size. They play energetic defense. And they're obviously great three-point shooters. We know that better than anything here tonight. They are great three-point shooters. This boys team, I don't want to be presumptuous here, but in all likelihood is going to drop this one, so they'll have a chance to go back to 500 on Friday. They're also going to take on South St. Paul. 14-7 South St. Paul team. So that should be a good chance for the Raiders to sort of right the ship. Back to action here. This one tipped away. And a layup here for Duke King. 15 points in this one. Into the corner. In front of the student section. Bernatz to Gudissa. 10 feet outside the point. Gudissa down low in the short corner for Lundstrom. Back to Gudissa. And that's poked away from Day. It's corralled from Gudissa. Kicks it out. Open three-pointer. Can't fall for Xander McVicker. Nearly stolen away. Like a Harrison Smith interception, but instead it's going to be another bucket here for Duke King, who's just putting them away here in the second half. Now a 40-point lead here for the Titans. Gudissa looks to pass. Give and go. Now Miska on Day, double teamed, loses the ball, kicked out of bounds. And it'll stay here with Hastings, as we'll have Seth Leary and Brady Hendrickson checking into the game. Clock continuing to run here as we are in running time. And it looks like somebody might have, I believe that was Miska who took a shot to the mouth there. We'll see if we can't get a replay on that as he's being attended to by the athletic trainer. So you hope that's nothing too serious. He doesn't seem too bothered on the sidelines, but I'm getting word we will take a look at that probably at the next stoppage here. Shot clock running out. Lundstrom hits another three. 12 points for Lundstrom, 4 3-pointers. They got to feed this guy the ball a little bit more. He is just red hot from beyond the arc here tonight. That's sort of the fun thing about this Raiders team is, you know, it's not a team that's necessarily built on superstars. It's, you never know who might get it done on any given night, as another 3-pointer falls for Kevin Wilson. Make that 23 for the sophomore. But, you know, whether it's Foss or Miska or Lundstrom, somebody always seems to be keeping up the pace here for Hastings. So here's that replay where Miska sort of got bumped in the head there from Duke King. Certainly unintentional on King's part. That's just, you know, people don't necessarily, when you think of contact sport, you might think of football, but, you know, basketball is certainly a contact sport, and things like that can happen from time to time. So back to action here. We have a couple of new players here for Hastings. Ryder Ashcraft and Gillespie. Another 3-point shot falls here for the Titans. That's for Joe Varner. 6 points tonight for Varner. Bounce pass stolen away, nearly stripped away, but the Raiders just running back on defense. Couldn't capitalize on that one there. They do force the turnover in their own defensive zone. So now Hendrickson in the far side corner for Ashcraft. Hits a 3, and that's something to celebrate for the student section. That's going to be Ashcraft's first bucket of the game. Driving in along the baseline. And they're going to call a foul here against Seth Leary. So again, here's the defense going to offense. A couple of nice passes and just plenty of space given to Ryder Ashcraft. 6'2" senior. And so we'll have some new players checking in here for the Titans, as they'll get some of the backups some minutes here, as will the Raiders. 3-pointer for Leary, no go. A player taking a hard spill for Hastings, that's Gillespie. Now driving in, a little jumper taken there for Kenny Brown. 6'7" sophomore, tallest player on this Titans team. Driving in along the baseline, puts up a left-handed shot, no good, but the rebound taken from Brown, who kicks it back out to Kobe Hernandez. His first time in this one. Sophomore getting some minutes. Hendrickson was only a sophomore himself. Still getting some playing time here for the Raiders. Leary to Ashcraft to Hendrickson. Back down low to Leary. Kicks it out to a teammate in the restricted arc. And we will get a whistle here, under 2 to go. So it's going to be a foul on Kobe Hernandez. That's going to send Drew Gillespie to the line here. First shot off of the back iron. And Tommy Schomer and Owen Selesky checking into the game now. Burnat's hitting the bench here. Same with Hendrickson. And the ball given here to the Titans. And there was another player checking in for Hastings. So sort of a press there for this young Raiders defense. 2-pointer falls in there for Kenny Brown, his first points of the game. Only a couple of seconds separating the shot clock and the game clock here. Long three-point shot, airballed for Tommy Schomer, the freshman. And a two-pointer there for Ryder Ashcraft. He'll finish with 5 points here tonight. Right in front of the bench, and they'll just direct him to hold on to the ball here. So when it's all said and done, the Tartan Titans winning this one by a score of 89-49, a 40-point victory for the number 1 team in the state of Minnesota. They will stay undefeated and advance to 22-0 on the season, 14-0 in the Metro East Conference. The Raiders drop to 11-12. They'll drop to 7-6 in the Metro East Conference. Just a dominating performance by the Titans from start to finish. 23 points for Kevin Wilson, 17 points for Duke King, 14 points for Emmanuel Oyasanmi, as the Titans had several players in double digits. They were too much for the Raiders here. They get the season sweep against Hastings here from Hastings High School. So with that, we'll give a special thanks to HCTV and Hunter Pinkey, Max Slocum, Ashley Andrus, and Will Celine. So the Raiders dropping this one by a score of 89-49. I'm Owen Ely. We'll see you here on Tuesday for a boys hockey matchup, a section matchup versus South St. Paul. Again, Raiders dropping this one 89-49. We'll see you later here on HCTV Sports.